Okay, hi Jane Doe. You know who you are. Thank you for taking your information, your personal information out so I can make this a video to show everyone. That is very much appreciated. All right, so I'm going to get into destroying your resume here and let's see if we can make it better. All right, so you obviously had this info in your information and you took it out for me, which is great. So we'll skip that for now. Experience, company name's been removed. Good. Process scientist, associate engineer, city, state. Okay, so you already have your city and state here. So if this matches this, you don't really need to have it. Same with the previous, unless the city, the city and state have changed, then you might need to. But in general, most places don't care. Recruiters don't care where it is. They might need to know to verify, but they can ask you about that later. So I might recommend just removing that. All right. Communicate safety testing requirements to multiple stakeholders such as clients and project managers. Yeah, okay. This one seems fine, except for this part right here. That part, multiple stakeholders such as. Those are extra words that don't really add any value to your resume. They're just adding verbiage for no real reason when you can literally just cut that and have it be communicate safety testing requirements to clients and project managers. Multiple stakeholders such as, like, it doesn't really add any value to your resume. I call those sugar words. When it's trying to be a skill and it isn't, it's trying to add value and it isn't. Pardon the coughing and the voice. It only happens when I talk. And it's a leftover cough. Anyway, so I would recommend removing that because those are sugar words. Now, what I call sugar is because it's meat, fat, sugar, and garnish. These are the 4 types of language used in a resume. And the most important thing, think about when you go out to a restaurant, what are you most excited to eat? What's the most important part of a meal? Is it the sugar? Is it the garnish? Is it the fat? No, it's the meat. Meat with side dishes of veggies and side dishes of other things. Well, a resume is kind of the same. The more meat you have in a resume, the more excited a recruiter is going to get. The more tasty the dish is if you have a lot of meat with a little bit of fat to it. Fat is where you have extra words that add value in a way that just like kind of clarifies. Like if you've got a skill and it just adds a little bit of extra clarification or targeting to that skill. So that way a recruiter knows, oh, okay, it's this type of thing, not another type of thing. For example, customer service. If you've got customer service on your resume and then you also put next to it quality control, that gives a whole different impression than like just customer service alone. It just adds a little bit of clarification of what type of customer service you might be in. That's fat. Meat with a little bit of fat in a resume is the best. All right. So now that we've explained meat, fat, sugar, and garnish, those will come up a lot. Assess whether incoming biomaterials are compliant with federal and international safety testing regulations. All right, that's good, except for this. These are sugar words. Assess whether incoming biomaterials are compliant. Who cares if they're incoming? A recruiter isn't going to ask whether you just did incoming assessments or outgoing assessments of biomaterials. It doesn't matter. So, again, they're sugar words. I mean, the more important thing to do is to take out any potential of where a recruiter might have a little question in their brain saying, so they can only do incoming, but not outgoing. Okay, they don't really qualify for this. Uncheck. See, you don't want that to happen when you can do the thing just fine. So that's one instance where taking out verbiage like that is really helpful, because the more verbiage, the more questions will come into a recruiter's head or hirers. I use recruiters, where hiring manager, hirers, everything like that. All of those could be there. could be, like extra words could be adding additional questions that you don't want in their heads. I'm going to check that this is recording fine. All right, good. Once in a great while, it likes to stop on me. Perform risk assessments for biomaterials in the event of inadequate testing or as needed. Oh, my most hated words ever. As needed. Those are garnish words. They are extra verbiage that does not need to be there. Garnish does not need to be in there. The meat is the most important. The meat is the juicy part. Nobody goes for the salad. Nobody goes for the parsley, right? So why have it in there at all? It literally adds not only no value, but it also adds extra reading time that it doesn't need to be there. All right, so the rest of it, perform risk assessments for biomaterials in the event of inadequate testing. Who cares if it's in the event of inadequate testing? Perform risk assessment for biomaterials. Done. That's a stronger skill. Who cares that it's only for you only do risk assessments for inadequate testing or as needed. Who cares? If you did it. That's all it needs to be there. All right, generate item specifications for all incoming biomaterials. Take out those. Sugar words again. Generate item specifics for biomaterials. Strong. All right, research testing practices, testing services, assays, cell lines, viruses, human-derived materials, bovine-derived materials, guidelines, regulations, as needed, to best advise stakeholders. Okay, take the words to best out as well. To advise stakeholders on biomaterials testing and safety. Oh, that's the end of that. Okay, this is kind of long. I like the fact that you have all of these, but they're very specific to the job at hand. If you're looking for the same exact job, keep all those in there. If you're looking for a next step up, which you did tell me what you were looking for, I think. Unfortunately, I cannot find it. Something's happened with my Facebook, and like you disappeared out of either Facebook or Reddit or wherever we talked. So I wasn't able to find it again. So yeah, I remember you telling me something. Yeah, you were having trouble placing yourself. I just couldn't find it earlier. I've been talking to a lot of people in the last 2 days. All right, so let's take out some of these. We don't need these unless you're going for the same exact job. If you're going for the same exact job, those might be keywords. But if you're going for something similar, let's take out a few of them. Maybe that one? Essays? I just don't know the meaning of that word, and that's surprising given that I was an English teacher. That's not a common word, I guess. Cell lines is fine. Viruses is fine. Human-derived materials, bovine-derived materials. Maybe cut one of those. 2. Guidelines, regulations. That's the same thing. Testing practices. Maybe just cut that down by a word. Research, testing practices, regulations, services. Just maybe cut a few of those down. And then take that out to advise stakeholders on testing and safety. You already got this here. If you take it out here, well, you already got it here. So, okay, we can just take it out there. It's the same thing. Enforce company safety operating procedures and entry requirements to ensure all appropriate standards and procedures are followed. Okay, from here on, it is all sugar. It's all attempting to... All right, well, there we go. There we go. This part is all attempting to be a skill when it isn't. It's absolute sugar. You can just completely cut it. Who cares that it is ensuring appropriate standards? That's your job. You've already said it in other ways up here pretty clearly. There's a lot that you don't need to say, and then you do need to say when it comes to your resume. To ensure all appropriate standards and procedures are followed. Well, that's what you're paid for. So, that's like a duh. It's kind of like saying To serve customers, we require customer service. It's, yeah, I don't know a better way of saying that where it's a little clearer at this moment. But I think you've already said it earlier in your resume, so I don't think you need it here. All right. Coordinate personnel across multiple departments. This is not adding you any value. This part right here, that's sugar again. Coordinate personnel across process scientists, QA, supply chain, project managers. Cool. To make documents effective in master control and SAP. To make Pardon this cough. I was doing so well today too, only coughed like once. To make documents effective in master control and SAP. That's just, you made effective documents thanks to coordinating personnel across multiple departments. How about we just change to, we need to change this to something. Hold on, I'm thinking of some potentials. To master control in SAP. See, I don't know what this means, and a recruiter might not either. A recruiter is just a recruiter for companies. They may not know what that means. They might not even know what this means. They'll probably have a good idea of what this is for the job, but not this. I think this needs to be reworked a little bit. Something like coordinating personnel across process scientists, blah, blah, blah. We don't need the etc. in there at all. It's just sugar, or it's a garnish words. But then, yeah, we need something here a little bit, like maybe 2 more words or something. We don't need all of this. And we may not need these unless they're important for the job. You'd have to, you really need to explain these a little bit more. In a way, I almost think that this should be another bullet point. This can just stand on its, from here, not the ETC, but from here, this can stand alone just fine. Maybe something like make documents effective in master control in SAP, explaining what those are, and then clarify what you mean by this. What did you do to make documents effective? What's this making documents effective thing? Did you write documents for master control in SAP? That would be a standalone. I wrote documents for master control in SAP. Who the hell that cares that you coordinated across different departments to do that? You said that you could coordinate personnel. Then you don't really need to explain more in this. So yeah, I think this might be kind of a separate thing. You're the expert of knowing what you did. I'm just trying to see from the recruiter side of things what I can read from it. Okay, management of critical and process testing, sample inventory, and transfer for over 15 projects across 3 GMP manufacturing facilities. Ooh, bigger, biggest. All right, this is your attempt to make this, what you do sound grandiose. And I recognize that as a pile of BS. As the career consultant, not as the recruiter, but as the career consultant, I sense BS here because you're trying to make something sound bigger than what it is. Transfer for over 15 projects across 3 GMP manufacturing facilities. Look at all the stuff I handled at the same time. Let's see about making this more realistic. We don't have to lie or make things grandiose. The skills can speak for itself. Management of, see, even the word critical here, critical things. I was putting out fires and juggling and all that. Let's break this up. Management of in-process testing, IPC, IPT, all right. In-process testing, sample inventory, and transfer. See, this part, I don't quite understand your English here. I mean, like the sentence structure. Am I missing something here? Management of critical in-process testing, sample inventory. Is there a comma missing here? Or is this critical in-process testing, sample inventory and transfer? You see where I'm confused? So management of in-process testing, maybe there's a comma there, sample inventory, comma, and transfer for over 15 projects across 3. Let's change this up. Management of in-process testing, sample inventory management, and transfer for 15 projects. We're taking out the grandiose word over here. For 15 projects within 3 GMP manufacturing facilities. It doesn't make it as grandiose, but it still gives you the scope of what you were managing without the grandiose juggling fires, putting out fires everywhere thing. Something like that. Yeah, if you could clarify that a little bit more, this whole thing overall, and then just change those few little words, it might be better. But again, you're the expert of what you did there. Interfacing with quality control, testing analysts, shipping, manufacturing, environmental health and safety, process department, and analytical development to ensure, here we go with the to ensure thing again, the proper chain of custody throughout each project. Who cares? You were interfacing with quality control, testing, and analysts. My course is called the Skills Analyzer, so I always think analyze. Yeah. Shipping, manufacturing, environmental health, safety, process department, and analytical development. Okay, so these are a lot of just department names. And a lot of, these are department names, but they're also keyword loaded. Same with these up here. And you already got them up here. So I'm not necessarily sure you need them all right here, just all loaded here. But I get why you put them here. Interfacing with quality control. See, interface. Why interfaced? To ensure proper chain of custody throughout each project. So you basically talked to people in different departments. That's it. That seems like that's the core skill of what you've listed here. You talk to people through different departments. You've made this more grandiose than it needs to be. The proper chain of custody throughout each project. I want you to explain that more than who you talked to and all of these department names, which you pretty much already have here. I want to know why you interfaced, what this proper chain of custody is about. Like, you don't need to say ensure the proper chain of custody. I don't know what that means. So what proper chain of custody? So did you handcuff things to each other and then like give them from place to place? Did you have like lock and key systems? Chain of custody makes me think of a jail for some reason. So I think it's you're more people focused here, but I actually don't know what you did. I have no idea what you did with these. A sample receipt analysis. Your title gives me a little bit more. How about you sent samples through the different departments? Did you handle? I hate the word handle too, because that just gives me the sense that you just put something in your hand. I'm handling it. But yeah, I'm a little confused with this one. I think we can really focus on the thing that you did more than the people you talked to. All right. Ownership of receiving samples and materials from shipping and manufacturing. Ownership of means like you literally this was put into your hands. You didn't do anything with it. It was just, hi, I'm the owner of. Well, yeah, that's not impressive at all. That's not a skill. That's a, hi, Daddy gave me money when I was little. There's nothing to that skill. That's not a skill. So instead of ownership of, You would say you received samples and materials from shipping and manufacturing. Way better. I am not even going to attempt to say that. BSL 1 and 2, conditions per sample plans. I have no idea what you're talking about there. As a recruiter, we're not in the job. We're just trying to hire for the job. And while we have check boxes and a general description of the job, we don't know what that is. That's like you're speaking scientific gobbledygook. And so can we do something about this? This part is fine. Once you change this part's fine. Aliquote under aseptic BSL 1 and 2 conditions per sample plans. Does this really matter to the specific job? Maybe this can be changed to be more kind of general. I can't even I don't even know what aliquot is to translate it. So held samples under aseptic principles, or under aseptic conditions. That would make more sense within controlled material storage. Yeah. Document review and compliant archiving practices. That's where that sentence should end. Maintained GMP documentation on all samples and materials and new hire training. That's a separate thing. Absolutely should be its own bullet point there. All right. Sample and supporting documentation preparation in collaboration with project coordinators and stability analysts for appropriate outsourcing testing to satisfy incoming biological material entry requirements. That is a tongue twister, girl. All right. Sample and supporting. How about supported documentation preparation? Yeah. Sampled and supported. Oh, you've got these in all in you've got these in all in present tense. That's fine. Sample and supporting documentation. Yeah. Sorry, my brain went somewhere else for a second. Usually when it's not your current job, you want to put it all in past tense. Current can stay in current tense. Everything else needs to go in past tense. That's just me being an English teacher. But that's what I recommend for everybody. Sample and support documentation preparation. Yeah, see, sample and support, or sampled and supported documentation preparation. See, English level, like just tripping somebody up where a recruiter needs to read it a few times to get it is a bad thing. Always a bad thing. So, things like this too. Somebody needs to go and look up what that word might mean. It's kind of a bad thing. All right. In collaboration with project coordinators and stability analysis. See, basically, you're just talking with people again here. Who cares about that? You've already set it up here. You've already got this right here, so you don't need to say it 3 more times. Never say anything more than twice in your resume. All right. For appropriate outsourced testing to satisfy incoming biological material entry requirements. I get the feeling that none of this is really necessary. After the word preparation. There we go. I get the feeling that none of this is really necessary. Sample and support documentation preparation. How about created documentation? Did you write up documentation as well? That might be a little stronger here, but you may not have needed to do that. Then how did you support documentation? What did you do for that documentation? I'd like to know a little bit more about that. How did you sample documentation? How did you support documentation? Because that right there is a stronger meat than the rest of this entirely. All right. I am destroying the hell out of your resume. I am so sorry. I know I was going to do this. I hope I warned you enough about that. I don't intend to destroy people's resumes because I know that totally destroys their inner confidence and makes them spiral a little bit. But I'm hoping that this is helping you see what another person is seeing, a recruiter or a hirer might be seeing and tripping up on, and why. This is why I don't touch people's resumes directly. I show them via video what I'm thinking, and that's more helpful than anything else that I've found. I'd rather show somebody what I'm thinking instead of just changing it for you. Then you go off and you send it to one place, and then you wonder what you need to change for the next one. This, I hope, is teaching people in another way and teaching people what somebody's seeing, so it's a lot clearer. Even if I'm just doing it free for people or for a small cost or whatever, I'd rather do it this way than touch somebody's resume, change it once, and them still be confused. All right. Extension demonstration technician. I want to know more about that job just from the title. All right. Tested crop biotechnology. Cool. Such as pesticides, GMO, and crop hybrids for pest management effectiveness. Okay, cool. I mean, some people will think it's absolutely a horrific sounding job, but I think it's cool. It's science. Collected and processed samples from 6 pest species and 4 crops. Who cares how many? Just take out the numbers here, 6 and 4. From pest species and crops. Recruiter's not going to care how many exactly that you did. By the way, this one's perfectly fine and no changes. All right, reared and maintained an average of 20 to 30 controlled insect colonies from 3 species for genetic research. Take out the 3 from multiple species. Just put the word multiple. And you don't need the 20 to 30 or the words an average of. Who cares how many? Reared and maintained controlled insect colonies from multiple species for genetic research. You may not even need the multiple species part, but I think I'm going to consider that fat and adding just minor amount of clarification. Enough. I think that one's fine to leave. That feels like fat more than sugar. A little bit more in this sentence. Trained in insect identification and growth stages, as well as, these are garnish words. Trained in insect identification and growth stages and finding plant damage caused by target species. As well as is just for extra words. That makes it sound more high-level English that you don't need, that a recruiter has to read through and try to comprehend. And we're all lazy readers, So it's better you make your resume easier to read for the lazy readers to stop them from trashing your resume because it's too hard to read. And, if it's incomprehensible enough, recruiter's going to do that. And you think, that's their job. Yes, but if your resume sounds like gobbledygook, they're not going to be able to decipher it enough to be able to check any of those boxes. The easier you can make it to read, the easier it's going to be. All right. Fine. You can add bullet points underneath these. If you have anything you would like to mention that you specialized in a little bit, anything that adds some value to the type of job you're going for, if you're going for another process scientist type of job, anything like that could add just a little bit of touch of extra. So you can always add one bullet point with one little specialty from something specific, especially something like this. These aren't as big as so yeah, this right here is definitely cool to add a bullet point under it. And specialized training and proficiencies. I want to know what that word means now. And that. All right. And lab safety, material handling, biohazardous waste disposal, risk assessments, material entry assessments, contamination prevention. Okay. Cool. But I want to know where you got that training. Did you get it from this job? Here? Or here? Was there any specific year you were trained in? Did you receive any specializations or certifications? If so, those need to be here. I could see you keeping the trained in sort of thing. but you already have a lot of that here. I'm not sure you need all of this here. Maybe a few of these that I didn't see. Like, okay, special operating procedures, sure. Or safety operation procedures. You already got that right here. So you don't need it here. They already checked that box here. You already said this here. So you don't, or you already said it up here. So you don't need it here. I want to see more certification stuff if you have it, or anything that you didn't mention already up here could possibly be down here. But if you already have it up here, you don't need it down here. Software. I am I am absolutely fine with you having this here, and I don't say that often, because your resume is focused entirely on keyword loaded scientific stuff. You don't have software mixed in here, and that's fine because your stuff makes way more sense without it. However, you still do need to mention that you know certain softwares. Absolutely keep that. And I usually don't say that because I usually hate like the skills list area, which is this on your resume. When is this cough going away? All right. Yeah, totally fine with you keeping this here. Totally fine with you keeping some of this here. Adding on things that aren't here that you have been trained in, or specialty stuff, certifications you've received. I want to see that more. You are at a 1-page resume. You have plenty of room to expand on that. And plenty of room to expand on some of these. I have a feeling you're missing some meat. Maybe here. Possibly here as well. You don't have to keep it to a 1-page resume. 1 to 2 pages is fine. Absolutely fine. So you don't have to have all of these huge, like thin barrier borders and everything. No, go ahead and put it as 2-page. Everybody's fine with a 2-page. Anybody that's told you otherwise, please let me know so I can smack the hell out of them. Because what they are doing is forcing people into these tiny little boxes of unreadable stuff. Just for whatever reason, because I don't know where they got that information. But 1 to 2 pages is fine. Anything more than 2 pages, you better be a CEO. CEOs, high-level executives, are absolutely able to go to 3 pages because they need that buildup of experience under them. For your level, 2 pages is more than enough. For somebody that's just starting out, like I keep on mentioning customer service, that's a 1-page. Anybody that's told you any different than that needs to be shot. All right. So I think that's going to end it for now. I do believe I see. Okay. Oh, yeah. There is one other thing that I wanted to see on your resume that I'm not seeing, and that is your executive summary / objective statement. Because I don't know where you want to go next, that's a problem. From what I am assuming from your resume, you want the same job because you don't have an objective summary, an objective statement. An executive summary is for somebody that isn't necessarily looking for a different job. They're looking for a similar job in a similar line. You can totally get away with an executive summary, which is just in a kind of like a small about me sort of thing. Okay, I'm coughing way too much for a video, so let's just put it this way. Put on their objective statement, looking for a process scientist position, full-time process scientist position in the whatever industry. Or just looking for a process scientist position. If you're wanting to go for the same job, just even having that is fine. Or letting me know as a recruiter what you're looking for next. And then, is it targeted for that? Probably not. We could go further into that if you want. How to target this science-heavy resume for another job. But I am on medicine. gosh. Okay. So yeah, if you wanted to do the same job, you need an executive summary. But I would just say just having an objective statement would probably be fine enough, even if you're going for the same job. It just lets recruiters know where you want to go next. Otherwise, they assume you want the same type of job, the same exact job, associate level. So putting on there a little bit of a looking for a process scientist position would probably be good enough. I want to leave it at that before I choke to death here. I hope you don't mind my coughing that much, and I am so sorry for destroying your resume, but I hope it helps. And if you want to, we could do more with this to twist it to something else, to present it as something else as you want. That would be more my paid service at that point. So we could talk about that if you're wanting to go that route. Until then, I hope that this has helped, and I will say, see you later.